Right, so I've got my notes, I've come prepared. I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll see. So just before this video starts, I just want to say thank you to Alex, who's the Derby fan, Ben, who's the Preston fan, and Connor, who's the Leeds fan. Basically, you'll see later on in the video that I got them on for their quick predictions for their teams in particular, and the top 6 generally. So yeah, they know more than I do basically about their team. So thanks for coming on, boys, appreciate that. Right, morning fellas, welcome back to another Villa on Tour video. Today, I'm going to be doing a little bit of discussion about the playoff race, the autos, and just how I think it's all going to go really, because we're getting towards the end of the season and it's really starting to hot up. So I just thought I'd talk about it, talk about my predictions. Are Villa going to make it? We'll see. Just before we do start, if you haven't already watched the recent videos, we recreated some Aston Villa goals. That was fun to say the least. So go and check that video out, go and watch all the recent vlogs and stuff from Blues, Forest, Middlesbrough, whatever. Right, I've got the league table in front of me. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So I'm going to start with who I think are going to get automatic promotion. For me, I think Norwich City have already got promoted. They're 4 points clear of Sheffield United in second place, and I just think in earlier parts of the season, around Christmas and New Year, everyone was thinking, oh, Norwich, yeah, they're top of the league, but they're going to fall away at some point. And fair play to them, they haven't. They've kept consistent. They've won their last 5 games, so fair play to them. Daniel Farke is doing a really, really good job, and I don't think they're going to be a success in the Premier League. I hope they do okay in the Premier League, but I don't see it happening. I think they'll be like a Huddersfield, and you know, they're just kind of not really doing too much. But fair play to them, they've smashed it this season. And Daniel Farke, hopefully Dean Smith can do a similar style of thing with Villa, because the football Norwich play are fantastic. And we've got them last game of the season at home, so hopefully they can get promoted before then, so they'll be on the beach, the pressure won't be on them to get some sort of result, so hopefully we can get a result, because we're probably going to need it. Now, this is a slightly more interesting one. Who do I think is going to get second place? For me, it's only between 2 teams in Sheffield United and Leeds, and they played each other, I believe it was last week, and Sheffield United won 1-0 at Ellen Road, and that is a massive result, because Sheffield United at home this season have been absolutely fantastic. I think they've been the best side at home. They've got the best home record in the league, and they've proved as well away that they can do it, because they won at Leeds. So fair play to them. I think Chris Wilder deserves massive credit for what he's done with them this season. I believe he started in the National League, he's been through League 2, League 1 with Sheffield United, and he's just got that winning mentality. And I think the players they've got, he's done such a fantastic job, and I do think they'll get second place, and fair play to them. They are a very good team. When they came to Villa Park, they were 3-0 up, and between 0 and 80 minutes they looked really good. They looked promotion material. I know they crumbled, but they haven't done that many times this season. I think they've been very consistent, and I do think they'll get second place. That obviously means Leeds will fall into third place. They're renowned for being bottle jobs, I know they are, but I do think they'll get third place, which means they'll play whoever comes 6th in the playoffs. And I don't remember seeing Leeds in the playoffs for a long time, so this could be really interesting. Again, I believe Leeds will come third, because they do have slightly harder fixtures. They've got teams like Blues away, they're never very good at Blues. Preston away, which is hard, Sheffield Wednesday, Brentford away, and we've got to play them as well. Villa have got to go to Ellen Road, which is our last away game of the season, which could prove to be a massive game. I'm really looking forward to that one. Yeah, so as I said, I don't think Leeds are in any danger of falling anywhere below third. For me, all they've got to play for is getting that second spot.
Hello Max, hello Villa fans. I've been asked to do a little segment on the playoff run-in. What do I think will happen with Leeds? I think if we do drop into those playoff places, we're in a little bit of trouble. I think Borough, West Brom and Villa, all very decent teams, especially over 2 legs, especially the form Villa are in now. Grealish is back. I think Tony Pulis has got enough to potentially shithouse us and many other teams over 2 legs. And I think West Brom have got the money and the quality as well. So Leeds are expecting the top 2, we're hoping the top 2, otherwise we could be in a little bit of trouble.
After that, we've got West Brom, who lie in 4th place at the moment. I think West Brom are quite a difficult one. Obviously, they sacked Darren Moore a couple of weeks ago, which for me was a bit of a weird decision. It shocked a lot of people in the football world. And I know they've won their last 2 games, but I don't really know how to feel about West Brom, because they do score a lot of goals. They score a lot of goals all around the pitch. They've got Gale, Rodriguez. They've got a lot of good players in there. But they do leak a lot of goals. They've only conceded 6 less goals than us. And we all know our defensive issues that we've had this season. And West Brom, they've got a leaky defence as well. Sam Johnson has saved them in the last few games. He's turned out to be a very good goalkeeper. I'm definitely not salty about that one, but for me, I think West Brom, they've got leeway either side, so I don't think they're going to trouble automatics at all, and I don't think they're going to fall anywhere below 4th place, so I think they've all but secured their playoff place. I think they're going to come 4th. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit more interesting, because we've got Middlesbrough, who currently lie in 5th, but for me, they're going to fall out of it. I remember when we played Middlesbrough, I spoke to AJT. This is what he said. Do you think you're going to fall out of the playoffs in the end?
Do you know what it is? The last 2 games have been an absolute joke. It's one of them whereabouts. I look at this one, I look at Norwich and our next game, Bristol City, then Swansea. 4 tough games, but like I say, man, it's if we can get some today, confidence gets lifted, and then go into Norwich a little bit easier. If we don't, I can see us falling at the playoffs by maybe the end of the Norwich game and falling mid-table.
Yes, I don't think Middlesbrough's fans are in the happiest place. Their team at the moment is really not performing to their full potential, and I just think Pulis isn't really anything special. So I think for me, they're going to fall out of the playoffs, because there are a lot of teams outside the playoffs, including us, Preston, Bristol, Derby, that are breathing down their neck, and I just think, judging on what I've seen of Middlesbrough this season, they are nowhere near promotion candidates. For me, Ipswich, when they came to Villa Park, caused us more problems than Middlesbrough, and that says a lot. I think Middlesbrough had 1 shot on target, and even that was a right-footed shot from the edge of the box from George Friend, of all people, that didn't trouble Jed Steer at all. So for me, Middlesbrough don't pose a problem in terms of the playoff push. Again, I remember seeing a stat that Villa have scored 20% of all the goals that Middlesbrough have conceded in the Championship this season, which is a bit mad, but yeah, for me, they're going to fall out of it. Which opens the door for a lot of teams, like I've already mentioned. I'm going to talk about Villa last, because I've got quite a bit to say about them, obviously, but I'm going to talk about the teams just outside the playoffs. So Preston currently lie in 7th place on 57 points, but they're just outside the playoffs on goal difference. They've won their last 6 away games, and to be fair to them, they deserve a lot of credit, because early parts of the season, they were, 18th, just hovering in no man's land. But Alex Neil, he deserves a lot of credit. They've got a lot of decent players in there that are being pushed to their potential, like Callum Robinson, Daniel Johnston, obviously Villa players in the past. They've actually won more games this season than we have, so as I said, they deserve a lot of credit. Do I think they're going to trouble the playoffs at the end of the season? No, I just don't think they have that experience, but that they are pushing above their weight at the moment for me.
It's been quite a turbulent season for Preston so far, but with us being unbeaten in our last 12 matches now and just sat outside the playoffs on goal difference, I don't think that any side in the Championship will be wanting to play us in the current form we're in. Looking at our fixtures from now until the end of the season, I do think we do have quite a tough running actually. We've got 3 consecutive games against Sheffield United, Leeds United and then West Brom. Those 3 games could be really decisive for the rest of our season. If we completely fall apart in them and lose all our momentum, lose all 3 of them, then the top 6 will escape from us. But if we can come out of those 3 games with sort of 4 or 5 points, the top 6 hunt will definitely still be on. I think it will go very close to Preston, and it's too close to call at the moment.
Just behind them in 8th place, we've got Derby County, who do actually have a game in hand at the point I'm recording this. And for me, they're the team that I think are going to get in the playoffs. Although they were very poor against Villa this season, we've beaten them 7-0 on aggregate. They didn't cause us many problems at all at Villa Park. But they have proved this season that they are a very good side. They do go through periods of good form, bad form, but for me, I just think they've got that experience. Obviously, they're in the playoffs last season where they got knocked out in the semi-finals to Fulham, but I just think they've got that experience. Frank Lampard, I know it's his first season in management, but I just feel they're the team that'll get playoffs in the end.
Hello, the Villa on Tour channel. My name is Alex. I'm a Derby County vlogger. So I'm going to talk about who I think will finish in the automatic places, and then I'll speak about who I think will finish in the playoffs. In the top 2, I think it'll be Norwich and Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United just because Leeds are really pushing on Sheffield United. And then I think Norwich will run away with it at the end of the season. I do think they could easily win all the games towards the end of the season. I know Villa have still got Norwich to play, which is going to be a massive game for Villa. In the playoffs, I do think Leeds will finish 3rd. West Brom will finish 4th, although they are slipping away a little bit after just sacking the manager Darren Moore, which, I do think it'll put them on a dodgy slope a bit, because not having that security of a manager is going to be really, really hard for them going into the playoffs. And then in 5th place, I do think Villa will finish 5th. I think they're on a good run, and I think they'll keep the run up to the end of the season. And in 6th place, I think Derby, and that's not me being, biased towards Derby, but, I do think that's where everyone will finish at the end of the season.
The last team I'm going to talk in a little bit of depth about is Bristol City, who currently have 2 games in hand, so it's kind of in their hands, to be fair, but they are bottom of the form guide. Towards the start of 2019, they went on a really, really good run of form, to be fair to them, but now they are bottom of the form guide. So for me, they are a little bit inconsistent. Lee Johnson, he's a good manager, to be fair to them. They haven't got too many players of note, but everyone keeps on saying, yeah, they're a Premier League club in making, but they're just quite not there. But they have had a good season. We've got to play them at Villa Park as well, which could prove to be a very, very big game. But I do go into that game confident. So for me, I just think the issue for Bristol City is a little bit of inconsistency. If they can sort that out, they'll be a threat to the playoffs. But right now, I just don't quite see it. I think the push for the playoffs goes all the way down to 10th and 11th, which is Sheffield Wednesday and Nottingham Forest. Although Forest have fallen off it a little bit in recent weeks, Sheffield Wednesday are doing well under Bruce, as much as it pains me to say. They do deserve credit, and Bruce has done a good job since he's gone in there. But obviously our next away game is Hillsborough, so that's a big one. But I just don't see those two teams causing the playoffs too many problems. I don't think they're going to make it. Blues obviously are just outside the playoffs. They are a threat to it. Bruh. Oh, I'm just receiving a bit of information. Oh, they're not. They find themselves in 18th place. Right, so I'm going to finish talking about Aston Villa. Do I think we're going to make the playoffs? Yes, I do. I just think, as I've talked about already, I think consistency is key for Villa. Dean Smith does have this type of reputation since he was at Walsall, Brentford, that he does go on periods of good form and bad form. He does have these blocks. Obviously, his highest place that he's ever finished with Brentford is 9th place. But I do have full confidence in Dean Smith at the moment. Obviously, we've had a good run of form in our last 4 or so games. We've won all 4 of those games. And I think we've shown that we can blow teams away. You look at Derby, you look at Middlesbrough. But we also do pose the threat of being able to grind out a game, because last season and early parts of this season, I do think that we didn't show that. There was a lot of draws that should easily have been wins. But I just think Dean Smith, we saw it in the Blues game, he does have the ability to grind out these games, because the Blues game, to be fair, easily could have been 0-0. But we got the 3 points, and that is the main thing. So being able to blow teams away as well as grinding out results, that's promotion. You need that to get promoted, basically. We've got 8 games left, so it's going to be tight. We have the last 2 games especially aren't going to be easy, in the form of Leeds away and Norwich at home. Hopefully, as I said, Norwich can just go, so there's no pressure on us for that one. But that Leeds away game, that's a huge one for me. If we do make it, which I think we will, I don't fear anyone. I was on the My Old Man Said podcast, which if you haven't listened to, go and give them a listen. I was on there, decent podcast, but we said that we don't fear anyone. If we do get the players, we would have had to have that momentum to actually get there. So for me, I don't fear anyone. Even the likes of Leeds, West Brom, I don't fear them. Over the 2 legs against West Brom, which I think we'll get, because I think we'll get 5th, and I think West Brom will get 4th. So in terms of my predictions, I do think we're going to get West Brom in the playoff semi-finals, which is going to be, that's going to be mad if it does happen. But I do fancy us, especially in the final as well. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but if we do get to the final, big emphasis on the word if there, I think we'll get Leeds. And Dean Smith, I do have full trust in him in a 1-game playoff. I do trust him. And I think last season, we've had the experience in going there. And I do fancy us in a 1-game occasion. And Leeds do have the reputation of being bottle jobs and all that, so I'm looking forward to the final stages of this season. I know this is all, my predictions, and it could all be wrong. I know that, but this is just my predictions, how I think it's going to go. Leave your predictions in the comments as well. Do you think we're going to make it? Are we going to get promoted? Are we going to win at Wembley? Because I'll tell you what, I cannot be dealing with another defeat at Wembley. I really can't. I am confident going into the last 8 games of this season, but it's going to be tasty, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting. Can we do it? Let me know. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, subscribe if you are new. We're very close to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be at Blackburn, I'll be at Sheffield Wednesday, I'll be at Rotherham. Let's get Villa promoted. What? Thanks for watching. Cheers, boys.